Taoiseach, according to DAF.ie, there are just 17 houses available to rent in the entire county of Tipperdown today, with just one property available to rent in the largest town of Clonmala, a one-bedroom apartment. There are currently 3,521 people waiting on approved housing lists, waiting for housing in Tipperdown. Rents in the county were on an average of 7.7% higher in the final 3 months of 2020 than the year previously. The national average listed rent is now €908, up 61% from its lowest point. The property rental crisis is now at the worst point, and there has been over a decade, with such limited supply of housing. While Tipperary County Council and Wallam Wakens the Gald and Adina Gobberham Show is meeting its targets for rebuilding Ireland and in 2021, and it is expected to exceed its targets, is simply not sufficient to meet the demand. Tipperary Council delivered 840 units between 2018 and 21, and aims to meet its new build target of 230 units between now and year end. If these targets will, however, unfortunately go nowhere near to address the acute problem that is there. My office, and indeed many other offices, are inundated with people desperately seeking housing. And I want to wish and wake the Dina Gobber in of Fain Freshen. And people who are desperate. These are families who are currently living in homes where the landlord is selling up and they can't find alternative accommodation. Applicants approved for housing but cannot find them to accommodation under the HAP scheme. Returning Irish immigrants who can't find accommodation in their local areas to rent or buy. Young couples, and this is a big bone of contention, who have sites who are being refused planning permission and can't find accommodation to rent or buy either. There's also a serious disconnect between the current income limits to qualify for social housing in Tipperdown. Tipperary County Council cap is 25,000 for a single person and 27,500 for an average family of two adults and 2 children, a figure that hasn't been reviewed since 2011. I'm calling on the Minister O'Brien and you, Taoiseach, and your Cabinet to review this immediately. It's causing a huge problem, especially when we see that an average 4-bedroom house in the county is approximately €1,200 per month to rent, meaning that a family with an income of €28,000 is expected to pay 51% of their income on rent without any assistance. And Chin Road of Fossock. With the huge increase in rent in the county and across the country and the massive increases in the cost of living, these limits are no longer appropriate, or wholly inappropriate, and they need to be reviewed urgently. So I'm calling on Minister O'Brien, as I said, and your government as a whole to act here, because we keep talking in aspirations and good intentions, but they're not being delivered and people can't afford and they can't get help. I have people sleeping in tents by the side of the river shore in the beautiful Clonmala. In tents, and I'm meeting them on the street, and I'm sure other deputies are in all the counties. It's a perfect storm now, and in the policies that you have with not cutting timber and the installation costs with regard to oil prices and carbon taxes driving up the prices to build them. So we are in a perfect storm and we need action, and we need it now.
First of all, thanks to the Deputy for raising the issue, and the issues concerning housing in Tipperary are ones that are reflected across the entire country. And the only response to it is a sustainable, comprehensive one, which is what government has provided in the form of Housing for All, which provides a very comprehensive set of measures and targets with financial backing to increase housing supply. That is the most fundamental thing we can do in relation to the housing situation, which is very, very difficult and challenging for many, many people, particularly the scarcity of supply. And basically, Housing for All is committing to the creation of about 33,000 per annum over the lifetime of the plan, on average 33,000 per annum. We've had setbacks with COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021 in terms of the lockdowns, which did slow down construction and housing, but there's been a very significant rebound since then, with 31,000 commencements in the year to January of 2022. So that's a 48.4% increase year on year. And that's the highest rolling 12-month total since comparable data was first published. Construction of 1,861 homes commenced in January 2022. That's up 35% on January 2021. There were about 20,400 houses completed in 2021, while the number of apartments completed increased over 30% for the year. So progress has been made, and we've got to make much, much more. And it really is about supply on the house construction side, and then a variety of offers to people, from affordable housing, in terms of the local authorities supporting affordable housing with state backing, social housing, and up to 10,000 annually we want to construct with the approved social housing bodies and the local authorities. Cost rental, which I think will be increasingly more significant as an option for people, and we want to develop critical mass of supply on the cost rental front as well. And then to give supports to Help to Buy, through the shared equity, to young first-time buyers in respect of that. I mean, last year about 46,000 homes were purchased, 30% of these being, over 30% being bought by first-time buyers, and there was about 40,000 planning permissions granted in the year to Q3 2021. On the HAP, the HAP is a huge provision from the state, and at the end of Q3 2021, over 97,500 HAP tenancies had been set up since the scheme commenced. So this comprises more than 62,000 households actively in receipt of HAP support, and over 33,400 separate landlords and agents providing accommodation to households supported by the scheme. Budget 2022 allocated 585 million in exchequer funding for the HAP scheme, and that again will enable a further projected 14,000 households to be supported, and also the continuing of existing ones. Just to say that there are facilities whereby each local authority has statutory discretion to agree to a HAP payment of up to 20% above the prescribed maximum rent limit to secure appropriate accommodation for a household that requires it.
Deputy McGrath.
Taoiseach, yes, and I think HAP, and from my considered opinion, has been an unmitigated disaster. Billions have been spent on it, which should have been building houses. So we need to get off that particular road and Boher or Foster, as I said. The situation is desperate. While the government talks of great intentions when it comes to building houses, we need further immediate action for young people in Dinaoga. Taoiseach, many of your policies here, especially since you hitched up with the Greens in that marriage, threesome, it's many of the government policies are leading directly to limited supply, where young couples who want to build in their own land cannot get planning. And then the price of, you won't even cut a kippen, not to mind say a tree, and you'll cut a little bit faster gone I'm I mean, it's so sad, and the price of building, and then we don't have the apprentices. You said starts. I'd love to know, are they ESB connections when everything is finished and the ESB is approved to turn on, because we're playing with people's lives here and playing with figures, because the builders can't get tradesmen, and they're not there to be got, and they can't get supplies. And a young couple or any couple can't get a quotation for less than a week now, because builder supplies won't give it to you, because they can't, because of the escalating costs. So it's backwards we're going here. So the sense of the Mehel Tashi Imaha and Taoiseach, I think it's more in true Asian.
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Well, Mother Darren Dorton Philita, Cadiana bit fasta, Ganaimed ta Darren na Guilta Lor. Ach caig misha a ra inish hachta Neil Darren na Guilta Lor. Or she ta gest a gwinga na id a churash law ni glé shachtan in id na shachtan agus blian in ig bliana. Agus an what is talk to is federling yeneth na na Guilta a hortarash agus id a lahanu fud na tira agus shinita fi chabad le gwing a goberlish party glass. Working with our Green colleagues in government, who I know you have great admiration for, we're doing everything we possibly can to bring the trees back, to bring our forests back, and to grow them in abundance. I would appeal, and you're right on one thing, I would appeal that there be no objections to afforestation and to licences. We should get on with it, particularly native trees and so on, and we should grow them. And the new riparian scheme that's been introduced by the Minister for Agriculture, Charlie McConlogue, which will facilitate, and Pippa Hackett, Minister Pippa Hackett, which will facilitate small plantings on farms with income streams for farmers, which will enable us to clean the waterways and keep our waterways clean. I think it's a very innovative approach to tree planting. Again, we will work with the local authorities in respect of growing trees, growing trees and also building houses as well, which is critical. And Cábí de Tahia Hógáil. The most important thing we can do in housing supply is to build more houses, get the schemes approved, remove log jams in terms of obstacles and so on and objections. We just got to get on with it.
Thank you.